Well, it's a pleasure to have President Trump with us. How are you, sir?
Very good, Mark. Very good. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, President Trump, this 306-page report, which vindicates everything you have said about what was taking place from the moment they undertook this phony investigation. There you are, an innocent man. You know you had nothing to do with Putin. You know you had nothing to do with Russia. You know you had nothing to do with the Steele dossier. And they keep pounding you and pounding you and pounding you on it. I mean, honestly, how did you feel? I mean, when you say, well, I'm an innocent man, what the hell's going on here?
Well, you know, it's very strange because I started hearing it about Russia, and people would come up, young people, usually working for the campaign. Oh, sir, it's so nice to meet you. Sir, do you know anything about Russia? In other words, there was this sort of thing going around, and they had started it actually a little before the 16 campaign, but it really had a much bigger effect on the 2020 campaign because nobody heard about it before 16. They meant to get the dossier out before 16, and it might have changed things. I don't know. I mean, they couldn't get it out. Believe it or not, they couldn't get any of the fake news media to put it out. It took a little bit longer than they thought. And I had won, and so therefore when it came out by BuzzFeed, which is now I think out of business, I hope they should be, but BuzzFeed came out with it in January, so that's quite a bit after the election, so it didn't matter there. But nobody thought it was going to go on for 2.5 years. It was meant to be an excuse for her losing the campaign, Russia, right? So that was an excuse for her losing something that a lot of people thought she was going to win. I didn't think so. And it really had an impact on the 2020 race, along with many other things. You know that better than anybody, frankly. And it was very interesting. But these are very sick people. These are very bad people.
You know, Mr. President, 8 Pulitzer Prizes were handed out in 2018 related to this.
Yep.
To the New York Times and the Washington Post, Maggie Haberman and so forth. And, you know, people will say, well, are they going to return the Pulitzers? Doesn't it just show how completely and thoroughly corrupt and biased and activist the media are?
Well, it is true, and you'll be happy to know about 6 months ago I sued the Pulitzer Foundation because I said you got the Russia story wrong. Frankly, guys like you and Sean, and I don't know what they do, Pulitzer or its equivalent, but many people, Greg Jarrett and if you look at Turley, there's so many people they could have gotten, although it's a little bit of a minority, but nevertheless, a lot of people, they should have gotten it. You should have gotten it. A lot of people should have gotten it that got it right. But the people that got it all got it exactly the opposite, exactly wrong. And I sued the Pulitzer Foundation. I'm doing this more and more because it's all so corrupt, what's going on with the special persecutors. I call them special persecutors as opposed, they have the term special counsel. Sounds so nice. And then I brought it special prosecutor, but it's really special persecutors. That's all election interference. It's all dishonest stuff, no different from the Russia hoax that was just revealed. But I sued the Pulitzer Foundation, Mark, and I think you'd like this as a lawyer, because I said you gave Pulitzer Prizes, you have to take them back, because it's just the opposite what happened. It's exactly the opposite. So the Washington Post, New York Times, and various others got them. And we're in major litigation, and I think we're doing very well. And frankly, this should end it, because what happened today, I was so impressed by the quality of this report. It was an amazing report done by Durham.
And of course, now he's under attack, because that's the way the left and the Democrats are, one and the same in the media. But look at this FBI, how corrupt it is, how rogue it is. And I'll say this. The idea that it's not fixed, the idea that they get a warrant and then send a SWAT team to your home when they can resolve these matters, that wasn't a criminal matter. Or January 6th, you're the one that offered 10,000 armed troops to protect the Capitol building. That should have been enough there to call off the prosecutors. But so they're still at it. There's something about you. They just can't stand the fact that, number one, you became president, and number two, it could happen again.
Well, we're leading in every poll by a lot, and as you know, Ron has gone down big league. He has really gone down. He has dropped like a rock, which is frankly nice, because, I endorsed him and got him elected. He was going to lose by 30 points or more. I endorsed him, got elected, and then he says, I'd love to run against the president, So we'll see what happens, but he's way down, and we're leading Biden by 11. And I guess there was another poll came out 7, and another one 11, and another one 9. So that's a lot. But you'd actually say who would vote for him? Who would vote for him? But these are corrupt people. These are really deranged people, and you have that with the special persecutors right now. You have people who are going at the same kind of stuff, the same people. I mean, it's frankly, they're all friends. It's this group of people. They're all like friends. Just a disgrace. It's a disgrace that they're allowed to do it. But now we're leading by big numbers, and hopefully we're going to be able to turn it around, and we'll close up the border, and we'll get the bad ones out. You know, we have people coming in from mental institutions, from jails all over the world, not just the 4 countries that I talk about, including Mexico. I mean, we're talking about all over the world. They're coming in from Congo. They're coming in from Haiti is emptying out into our country. Many countries are literally sending their prisoners, their people from mental institutions. They're sending them into their dumping ground, which is the United States of America. And people are not going to stand for it. They're just not going to stand for it. We'll get it turned around fast.
Isn't it amazing? You got 20 shell companies. The communist Chinese are pouring tens of millions of dollars into the Biden bank accounts through these shell companies, which are intended to conceal everything.
Yeah.
And the Attorney General of the United States won't even appoint a special counsel to investigate Joe Biden. Isn't that appalling?
Well, the numbers, Jamie is doing an amazing job. Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan are doing an amazing job in their committees. But you look at the numbers, they're shocking. And not only, it's just not China, it's many countries. It's countries that a lot of people have never even heard about. It's just incredible what's going on. And you don't read about it in the mainstream media. You know, it's hard to have a scandal when you don't read about it, right? And you look at the New York Times, they don't write anything about it. They don't talk about it. It's incredible. Nobody's ever seen, I put out something today. I'm very honored by the fact that I think more than anybody ever, I've exposed the corruptness of the press. I've exposed the fake news for really what it is. And a lot of the fake news isn't the stories they put out, it's the stories they don't put out. Like, they'll have something like this, which is really the crime of the century, and they won't write anything about it, and they're all in lockstep. And that's just as bad as putting out phony stories. But the phony stories, if they have something on you, just a little tiny bit, and they make it into the biggest thing. But it's really what they don't say that's worse, and they don't report any of the things that you just said, actually.
You know, Mr. President, your taxes, your finances, your family, your every aspect of your life has been examined by the Democrats, has been examined by the media, has been examined by prosecutors. I don't think anybody else could possibly come out as clean as you have. They have literally nothing on you. Zero. So this is my question. This is my question.
Go ahead, please.
When you're with Melania at dinner or something like that, do you ever say to each other, I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know when this is going to end. I mean, they've looked and they've looked. There's nothing there. I tell them there's nothing there, but they just don't stop.
Yeah, they don't stop. No, and they continue onward, and it's worse and worse, and it's more and more pathetic, actually. The good thing about all of this exposure of corruptness is that it takes away their credibility for, what they want to do. These are people that don't want voter ID. These are people that want open borders. They're just people that want to destroy our country. Who could want open borders, as an example? But a friend of mine said, who was a very successful man, he said, you are the only man I know that could go through this kind of an examination. I mean, my tax returns, you heard about them for years. Finally, they were given over. They shouldn't have to be, by the way. I thought it was a terrible ruling by the courts, but that's okay. They were given over. That was the end of what you've heard. But no person has ever gone through what I've gone through, and they have nothing. And friends of mine that are very successful said, if they did that to me, within 10 minutes, they would have found more stuff. They can't even believe it, because I run a straight ship. I run an honest ship. And if I didn't, I would have been out of there a long time ago, because there's never been anybody that's been investigated. I don't believe anybody ever in history that's been investigated and turned inside out and backwards more than I have, Mark. And you know that, I think, almost better than anybody.
It's 100%. You've been investigated by the intelligence agencies. You've been investigated by the IRS. You've been investigated by the FBI and the Department of Justice. You've been investigated by U.S. attorneys. It's really absolutely disgusting and sickening. And by the way, President Trump has a great book out there, Letters to Trump. You can go to 45books.com. Let's put that up there, Mr. Producer. 45books.com or Amazon.com. It's a fantastic book. You know, Mr. President, you want to run, you want to get reelected despite all these slings and arrows. Why is that? What do you want to do again?
So we did a tremendous job. We had the greatest economy ever. We cut taxes more than anybody, even including Ronald Reagan. He gave the big tax cut. We gave a much bigger tax cut. We biggest regulation cuts in history, rebuilt the military, knocked out 100% of ISIS. You know, they say the war stuff, but we knocked out ISIS. Russia would have never happened with Ukraine. By the way, China would have never happened with Taiwan, and, you know, it could very well happen fairly soon. And all of the things I did, we had the greatest economy. We had no inflation. We had the most incredible time we've ever had. And I want to do it again. I want to make America great again. It's a phrase. I want to make America great again. We put America first. We were energy independent, and now we're paying a fortune for energy. We were totally energy independent. We had gasoline down to $1.86 a gallon. Think of it. And now they want to get rid of those cars, and they want to go to all electric that travel for an hour and a half before you have to start finding a charger. The whole thing is just crazy. Now, today I heard they want to get rid of washing machines and air conditioners.
Yep.
Because they don't have any electric. They want to go to all electric, but they don't have any electric. And California's all brownouts and blackouts, but they want to go to all electric cars. These people are crazy, and I really believe, I never used to say this, but they must want, they're not stupid people, because anybody that can cheat like that on elections can't be stupid. But they really want to destroy our country, and we're not going to let that happen. So we're going to make America great again, and that's why I'm doing this.
You think you'll have the lawyers in place this time and the infrastructure in place and so forth to really duke it out on Election Day?
Yeah, I do. I think we will. We're working on that very hard. They used COVID to cheat. Mail-in ballots by the millions and millions of mail-in ballots. And despite that, I got 75 million votes, more than any candidate had ever gotten, any sitting president had ever gotten. I was told if I got the same as I got the first time, which was 63 million votes, that you couldn't lose. I got 75 million votes plus I think many beyond that. And they called the election a different way. I won't get into it, but they called the election a different way.
But you think you're going to be prepared this time?
Yeah, I do think so. We have to be prepared. We have no choice. If we don't win, I really believe our country is going to be finished. I don't believe it's going to survive.
I agree 100%. So, was there anything else you wanted to mention? I just love talking to you. I can't help it.
Well, I love talking to you, too. And I have to say, for your listeners and your viewers, by the way, you have the number one show on Sunday, and you have the number one show on the weekend, and I love doing it. And we did it on the book, and the book became my book. Letters became the number one book in a long time. It's done great ever since we went on your show. I don't know if you know the power of that show, but if you get on that show and you have a book, your book is going to do very well. But you're a special man, and I say this to your listeners because you really are a special man, an amazing man.
Well, you're very, very kind. Likewise, and my best to your wife and your family, and God bless you, sir.
Well, thank you, Mark. Keep up the good work, and we will indeed make America great again. We're going to do it, Mark. Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care of yourself. The book is Letters to Trump, 45books.com. You're going to love this book. You're going to love this book. I have it right here in front of me. It's just fascinating. All these letters that were written to him and his responses throughout the years, and all the people that would write him, every walk of life, not just politicians and world leaders, sports figures, entertainers, leftists, and so forth, and what they said. In some cases, it's actually kind of funny. Letters to Trump, 45books.com, 45books.com, or you can go to Amazon.com, either way.